Okay, hello guys. My name is Jakub Jedlinski. I'm the teacher at the of the university class Bitcoin and Blockchain. And today we are live on a discussion with our guest, head of growth at Invity, Bach Nguyen. The discussion is part of our practical seminar, Bitcoin and Blockchain, that is led at Prague University of Business and Economics, Faculty of International Relations. We will be streaming several discussions with several experts from the crypto industry. A moderating team made of students, pre-selected students, is responsible for today's class, moderation, asking questions, discussion with our guest. Due to the GDPR regulation, we are streaming or capturing only Bach and my account as a teacher. In case you want to be seen in the videos, you are required to wear a Guy Fawkes mask, to comply with the GDPR. It doesn't apply to Bach and me, but to the students. So that's all from my side, people. And I wish you to enjoy today's discussion with our very interesting guest. And moderation team, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Jacob. And also thank to Bach for being here with us today. We really appreciate you taking some time to be here with us. And first of all, just want to ask, how are you? How are you doing today, Bach?
Yeah, hi everyone again. I'm great, actually. I was looking forward to this meeting from yesterday, so I'm very excited that you guys invited me, and I hope that my answers will provide you with some, background for your research. Maybe it's going to help you, or maybe it's just going to give you some information about how career works in this industry.
Okay, thank you very much. Today with me in the moderating team, we have Alison, Matthew, and Julian, and we are all part of the moderating team. And also for the audience, we are leaving some space for questions at the end of the presentation. So you can send them to the chat during the presentation. We will be paying attention to it. So you can send it whenever you want. And let's start then. The first question I have for you as an icebreaker question. We have been doing some research, and we wanted to know, since you have quite a political background for your studies, how did you exactly got into crypto? Because it's quite like a nice combination.
Yeah, so it's actually very similar to you guys, probably. I first got into crypto in 2013 when I was a sophomore in college in the US, and we had a class about global economics. And one of the works, or one of the curricula was we had to present a final presentation, a group presentation about a certain topic that we chose. And I managed to convince the team members to research on Bitcoin, to do a research on Bitcoin, because I've just heard about it before. So we did that. It was a semester-long research. I bought Bitcoin at that time, so it was like $2 per coin at that time. And we got people interested. We got even the professor interested into it because he didn't know about it. He didn't hear about it. And then at the end of this semester, I just sold it because it already made 20x, so from $4, I had $80, and that was enough for me to go enjoy more important things for me at that time, being a student. And I forgot about it afterwards completely. And when I came back to the Czech Republic after finishing my studies in 2016, I saw a job posting by Slushpool, by Brains. And they needed somebody with background in Bitcoin. And I was like, oh, wow. I mean, I did studies in the US, so I can speak and I can write in English for them. And I know something about Bitcoin. And they hired me because of that background. So it was completely random, as you say, background in political science, but a little bit of focus on economics.
Absolutely, absolutely. And now I knew about the paper that you wrote because of Lubo told us about it. And I wanted to ask, because it came perfect for the next question, I wanted to ask, what were your views about Bitcoin back then? I mean, were you expecting it to be like so big, or just it was some... random stuff at the moment?
Yeah, well, if I expected it to be that big, I would have never sold my coins at that time because I think I can say I bought 3 Bitcoins at that time, which today is an insane amount of money, right? So for me, it was like magical internet money. Let's put it that way. And I think that I saw some potential for it in being used in global economics, but I would never have guessed that it would evolve so quickly and would grow so quickly. And again, it was for me, it was a coursework. It was something that I had to do for school, and I didn't really think that far back then.
Okay. And now we're moving to another stage of your career, and it's about you work for Trezor, Satoshi Labs Trezor, like probably the flagship project. What was it like to work for them, like in that big project and like the hardware wallet? What was your experience like there? What did you enjoy most? Was because you had many jobs there, many positions. Um, was there anything you liked more, you didn't like that much? How was it like for you?
Yeah. So I started in Trezor back in 2016, and I was the 13th person to join the team. So at that time, we were really small. And after like half a year of me being there, we started hiring more people because the bull run started and the company expanded really quite a lot. So at the end, when I switched to Invity, I think we were like 60 people, something like that. So throughout those years, we've expanded a lot. The one interesting thing and the one great thing was that you could always, or for me at least, I could always go up in ladder. Like the more experience I gained, the more I could switch positions. I could find something that actually interests me, or not actually, but interests me more. But yeah, so moving forward, learning, and then moving to different teams was an essential key point to me staying there. Because when I first started working for Trezor, I told myself that okay, I'm gonna stay here for 2 years and then I want to move abroad again, right? That never happened because it's like what 5 years now. So the career growth opportunity is one of the greatest things that the company has given me. I've also learned quite a lot going through conferences, meeting new people, meeting actual people who are big names in the community. That was very teachable moments.
Thanks, that's very interesting. And we would also like now moving forward also in time. You are working as a head of fraud at Invity, which is also a Satoshi Labs project, and it's some kind of rate comparison tool, and you are the head of fraud. So could you please describe just a bit, maybe, what is your job consist of at Invity?
Right. So right now, the growth is focusing on finding new partners, finding new because we are a comparison site, as you said, we need to put more partners so that we can have a better comparison kind of service for our customers. The way we are focusing on it right now is we are researching different regions in the world. So let's say Europe, North America, APAC, and ZAC. And we are picking local purchase providers that we can integrate, and then we can compare their offers against each other. We consider this as a better way how to go about this. We don't want to integrate like global partners anymore because all of them, their main payment method is credit card. And as you might also know that credit cards charge quite a lot on the purchases. They range from 3.5% up to wherever they can go depending on the volume. So with these local partners, we can then provide our customers with local payment methods. In Canada, it's like Interac. In Australia, they have their own payment methods. Here, you also have like direct banking, like payments. So that's one of our focuses on how to grow the product, improve our product, so we can offer a better product to our customers. Another way how we go about growth is that we are researching new product opportunities, something completely new, not like comparing exchanges, and comparing sell, which we're also working on. One of the projects that we want to release, hopefully release this year, is a dollar cost averaging product for European customers. Because from our research, we've seen that this is a quite popular product service in the US. with Swan Bitcoin, with River Financial. It's also very popular in Australia, where you have Amber. But in Europe, ever since one of the startups, Bitter, got closed, or they closed because of regulations, we have a relatively empty space here. And I also know that some of the other like foreign companies are trying to open their branches in Europe to provide this offering. So there's definitely a market for it. I think there's demand for it. And if we manage to launch it this year, we hope to get on, and the customers will find us.
Hopefully you will be able to launch it and it will go well. And also you were talking about getting new providers, and how do you exactly manage that relationship? Because I think it might be complicated to manage all the maybe KYC and the AML. So how do you manage those aspects and your relationships with providers in general?
Yeah. So legally, we are not obliged to do KYC and AML on the customers, because we are merely comparing the offers from the providers. So once we forward the customer to the provider, it's the provider who's responsible for getting the KYC information of the client. So that takes that regulation off us. We are basically an advertising platform. It's like, if you know Heureka in the Czech Republic, you also then forward it to the seller to enter your information, and Heureka doesn't collect any information from you unless you buy directly on Heureka. So that's one thing. When it comes to managing relationships with our partners, I have a colleague who's responsible for the partnership team, and we have common Slack channels with them, so we are directly connected to them. It's nothing like over the email where you wait 2 days for an answer, but most of our partners are quite responsive. And since we are also, since Invity is integrated in Trezor, they have a lot of volume coming through us, so it's like in their interest to provide us with a good support, so that our customers, the Trezor customers, can then be happy with them.
Okay, and also talking about Invity, you are the head of growth, so I think you may have like a vision for the company in the future. Do you see it like it's only staying as a rate comparison tool, or maybe expanding to some other fields?
So it's amazing that you asked this question, because Invity, actually our mission is to educate and to onboard as many new customers as possible. But we started off with comparison because that was the first product that was already created back even before Invity existed. So it was a product that was done by the Trezor team, and I was managing it. I was doing the business development to find products to find partners as a part of the Trezor team. And once we realized there's a bigger potential in this, we created Invity as the financial services company, a daughter company, a subsidiary of Satoshi Labs. And then this entire project went under Invity. But Invity, actually, our aim is to be the onboarding platform for new customers. So we definitely want to have more educational campaigns or programs, content. We have a copywriter and marketing team just for that. We do want to launch that Bitcoin DCA, because I think that's the best way how to get new customers and new Bitcoin users. And you don't want to put 10,000 crowns right away into a volatile asset like this, but you should choose a more responsible, for your own money, responsible strategy how to invest into Bitcoin. So that is our aim. And we definitely want to grow the original goal of the company more than just focus on the comparison.
That's really interesting. Yes, and it's also important because one of the aspects that is usually criticized to crypto is that it's not really user friendly. So it's really nice that there are people working in this type of aspects of crypto.
Yeah.
And yeah, sorry, just go ahead.
Sorry, and I think this is really speaking from experience, because a lot of people in Invity are from Trezor, and we see that, having a hardware wallet is the next step, right? But you need to cover the first step of most of the people that are coming in. And a lot of people are not just going to buy a device for hundreds of dollars when they're just experimenting or just thinking about crypto.
Yes, that's completely like that. And I also, it's the same for me from my personal experience. And now I wanted to ask you more a personal question, not so personal, but You interact a lot with crypto in your professional career. Do you also interact it like more on a personal level, or it's just about professional for you and that's it?
Well, the more you go to conferences and meetups where you meet people on a regular basis and you see them like the fifth time or the sixth time, it's not no longer only professional level anymore. You know, you do have some of personal connection on there. So I think that I really like working in crypto for this reason, because you get to meet so many interesting people that you otherwise wouldn't meet. And then when they drop by, let's say this year it's a little bit difficult, or even last year was a little bit difficult. But when somebody drops by Prague and they text you, "Hey, I'm here. Do you wanna hang out? Do you wanna grab a beer?" It's really nice to be able to provide that basically friendship between people from different kinds of parts of the world that are working on the same economy community.
Yes, it's completely interesting. Okay, and now I will let my colleague Alison continue with the interview, and I really appreciate your answers, and it was so interesting to hear from you. So thank you very much for it.
No worries.
Awesome. Thank you, Tomas. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
So like you said, my name is Ali. I'm here in Prague from the US, so it's interesting to see the education the other way around. But yeah, I kind of wanted to keep building off of a few of his questions from Invity, but specifically, I guess, with the current rising popularity of new Bitcoin users this year, especially, with the price surge and everything. So I kind of just wanted to ask how the nature of your work has kind of accommodated the huge surge of new users in the crypto space, and if that's kind of changed how you guys are moving forward with Invity and kind of the educational side. And I feel like there's a lot of opportunities to have a competitive advantage there.
Yeah, so thank you. For the educational side, there's definitely more opportunity, and we are trying to capitalize on that. But because of the lack of people, or we've just hired more marketing people to write. So we're just focusing on the social media side of it right now as part of Invity. In Trezor, I don't think I can talk a lot about it because I don't really know what's happening in Trezor, but in terms of marketing, but I know that the support team has had a huge load on them ever since the new bull run came, because new users coming in, they're buying cryptocurrencies. Then you have the mempool be completely filled up, and people are wondering why the transactions are not going through. And this is one of the things that education should actually cover, but because education in this field is not completely perfect yet, and people generally don't really like to read. They like to watch videos, right? So it has put the support team under a lot of strain, and we've tried to scale it up. We've been hiring, or Trezor has been hiring support team specialists this time, and I really hope that it's going to get better. But again, scaling on the HR side is very difficult compared to scaling like Bitcoin or Bitcoin price going up.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I know it can definitely probably be complicated with the insane surge of all the new users this year. But I wanted to build off of, I know you're saying you can't speak entirely for Trezor on that side, but I wanted to ask if you could elaborate a little more about how kind of connected the different projects at Satoshi Labs are, because I know you were saying you guys kind of pass on customers to each other, and I know there's different strengths in each of the projects between, the comparison, or whether it be security from the hardware wallet. How does that kind of all connect with each other?
Right. So theoretically, let's say, or the aim of the companies is that Invity was supposed to be the onboarding platform. We get the new users. Users start purchasing crypto through us, or like do whatever through us, and then at some point when they have enough funds, or when when they have purchased enough, we can then upsell them like, hey, you've already invested, let's say, $1,000 into crypto. Maybe you should use a Trezor. Maybe you should think about how to securely keep your cryptocurrencies. So then the customer might then purchase a Trezor. And once they have a Trezor, they can have all the Invity features from inside the Trezor environment, from inside Trezor suite. So this is like we onboard the user, and then Trezor provides them with security. And at the same time, they can still use all the features that we all provide. When it comes to internal processes, we do work on some projects together, especially when it comes to integrating Invity API into Twitter Suite. As a startup company, we also rely on a lot of resources from Satoshi Labs. So the reason why I can talk about the support team is that the support team of Trezor also provides support for Invity.io. So I know how busy they are. Our marketing teams also work closely together, and we share HR and IT support, internal IT support resources too. So we are like a subsidiary in a true sense, but at the same time, we are independent in the projects that we choose to do.
Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. When I was looking at the Satoshi Lab umbrella, I was wondering how, independent or I guess interconnected it could be. But it makes sense as a startup to share the resources as well. So I guess my next question might be wishful thinking if you can tell us anything about it, but I kind of also wanted to pick your brain a little bit and ask if you could tell us anything about Tropic Square, the decentralized chip.
So about Tropic Square, I don't know much about it. I only know things about it that we have during internal reports and hearing about it from social media too. So I don't know if you've heard, but Tropic Square has gotten the first funding. I actually don't exactly remember how much it was for, but they are funded for their research and we are optimistic in the company. So we hope that the TASIC, the new chip, will be ready for the next model of Trezor, but only the future can tell, and I can't predict how it's going to go, the same way as I can't predict the price of Bitcoin.
No, definitely makes sense. But yeah, no. So those were kind of the questions I had lined up, I guess, about the specific nature of your knowledge of the projects and where you think it's going between Infinity and Trezor and all of that. So I guess the other side of what I kind of wanted to ask you about was that from working within, I guess, a project and entity that kind of has the motto or the goal of educating less savvy crypto investors, what do you think is the most helpful advice or tool that you give to that demographic? And then I guess more specifically, do you have any advice that you would offer to our demographic, us as students who might just have little investment experience in general?
Well, I would be amiss if I didn't say that you should use Trezor, right? But one of the advices and that we see very often in Trezor, or one of the issues that we see a lot, is the misunderstanding about how private keys work. So if we want people to be self-sovereign and to be fully completely independent of the financial structures or of anyone really, then we need to really emphasize on the importance of keeping your keys safe and keeping your private keys safe, keeping the mnemonic seed, the recovery seed safe, and not to upload it anywhere. Because we see even for tech-savvy users or crypto veterans, let's say, even they can make a mistake of misplacing their keys or of accidentally revealing their keys to someone. So I think the first lesson and the first advice should be in explaining the importance of private keys, why it's important to keep them safe, and why it's absolutely catastrophical to lose these keys. Right. To the next level, then, in order to protect these keys, we can then emphasize on the passphrase, emphasize on the importance of passphrases, and that a user can only understand a passphrase if they understand the seed before. So for me, those are the two things that every newcomer should know. I understand at the same time that it might be very discouraging, right? Like you're coming into this magical internet money, you want to buy $100 worth of Bitcoins, and suddenly you need to learn something completely technical, completely new, and you have never known about that before. So you would rather just download a wallet onto your phone because that one promises you relative security compared to a hardware wallet. So yeah, it's a difficult job, and I think that marketing team has a lot to do there, but that's for me the important thing.
No, I definitely get that, especially coming into this course. I personally had little to no experience in Bitcoin and crypto in general, and the seed phrases and the importance of that was like our first lesson. So I definitely understand that, yeah. But yeah, so I kind of had the professional and then the theoretical advice giving sides, but that's really all I had prepared. So I'm going to pass it on to Julian for his questions.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ali, and thank you, Bach, for being here with us today. I just want to use this quick opportunity to encourage the audience to write questions in chat, because I think we are quite good on time. And if you have anything to ask, just write it in the chat, and Mathieu will take care of that at the end. And now on to you, Bach. You talked a lot about your work already, and I want to get to the more fun stuff and crypto in general with you. And the first thing I want to ask is, what current projects are you following the most? What are you interested in? And what's maybe a fun thing that you discovered over the last couple of weeks in crypto?
Yeah. So to be honest, I've been pretty busy with focusing on the dollar cost average product on our side. So I haven't had really much time to keep track of the new projects in the crypto community or crypto economy right now. But you can't just avoid seeing news, like especially when NFT blows up, because a lot of people are a lot of artists are getting on the boat of NFTs. So for me, understanding, like, for me, I have a problem with NFTs, is that you're trying to make something digital, or you're trying to sell something digital, and create this ownership of something digital while it's easily copyable, right? So, and I understand that it's not about owning that actual digital thing, but owning a certificate that proves that you own it or whatever. But one of my main issues with NFTs is that how are you, if you're buying an NFT, how are you sure that if I'm selling it to you, I'm owning the right to it, right? So what is stopping me from stealing somebody's work and then pretending it like it's my work and then selling it to you? I think that, theoretically, it's a really good idea to put certificates on blockchain and to be able to trade things like these. But there are still some big questions about that, and I personally myself wouldn't buy an NFT. But on the other hand, I see, like, when artists can earn a little bit more money because they have been scammed. They have not been scammed, but they have been, like, losing money or not earning enough. Who am I to stop them from doing that, right? If they are selling it and if somebody's buying it, like, that's good for them. But myself, I don't think that's that great right now.
Yeah, that's really a heated discussion right now in the crypto space, and explaining to someone why a digital art piece might have so much value, and how scarcity is created out of thin air and then sells for that much is difficult to explain to someone. And it's reasonable that not all people agree with that kind of mindset, and why art pieces can sell for $69 million and stuff like that.
Yeah, but if some people don't understand, but there are people who clearly understand and there's clear demand for it because somebody clearly wants to pay for it, then I think it's fine. But it's just, don't get people who don't understand it into investing into it because they don't understand it, right? Like, don't fool people around it.
Yes, it shouldn't be seen as like an investment opportunity, but rather for collectors who might see the value in those digital pieces, that it has worth to them and it's worth keeping for them.
Exactly.
So I had some technical questions about NFTs, but since you're not that into it, I think we might skip those, because I've been researching on them a bit, and it seems like the biggest hurdle for them is scalability, like the fees of Ethereum and stuff like that is really high. So following up on that, do you have any ideas how scalability in general in the crypto space could be improved, like with fees on Ethereum? Are there any solutions for that, or is a long-term future maybe heading to more centralized blockchains, like the Binance Smart Chain, for example, that has substantially lower fees?
Yeah, so it's funny because I'm also not too much into Ethereum, but it's funny because I remember during the first scale war of Bitcoin that people were saying that Ethereum is much more scalable than Bitcoin, and now here we are. Ethereum has insane fees. So for me, that's very funny. As a solution for scalability, I see second layers and then other layers on top of Bitcoin. because Bitcoin can provide you with the store of value, right? It's the bedrock for the value. And then you can have smart contracts on top of Bitcoin if you wish to have smart contracts on Bitcoin. You have RSK running, which I think you guys know because I've seen a question about Sovereign there. But I think that on top of RSK, if we want to scale, that's one of the solutions. I've met RSK people in Argentina. They are a really cool bunch, and they're really respected in the community. So I think that if anything, that's a good way to go. And when we are talking about centralization or decentralization, RSK is actually federated. So it's not completely decentralized, but at the same time, it's not completely centralized. So I think that that's a trade-off between the two extremes, right? And if you're interested into that, right, so you use that. And if you don't like it because it trades off the decentralization so much, you still have Bitcoin to keep to.
That's a good argument. Let's keep up on that. Sovereign, you mentioned it quickly. Is it something that's just fascinating you? What's your relationship towards it? Can you explain us about that a bit?
So I first heard about it in some news, and I haven't really paid attention to it. And then because I saw you guys very interested in it, I looked it up. First of all, we've been looking at lending for opportunities, right? So because there's interest rate tool, and for people who hold for a long time, it might be interesting to provide that Bitcoin to somebody to earn interest. I've been always, or not always, but I've been a bit skeptical about it because I think it takes us very close to the traditional fiat banking when you're depositing money somewhere in the bank and uses it, keeps a fractional reserve and lends everything out. And this is why we are in this kind of economy, because money is cheap. So I'm a little bit wary of that. And especially in crypto space where you have new companies and these companies are telling you that you have to deposit there for 5 years to earn some interest. How are you sure that in the next 5 years you're going to have that the company is still going to be there and it's going to return your money? But on the other hand, Sovereign is probably not working like that because it's decentralized, and that is something that could fix this, or something that could alleviate these worries of mine for a bit. I just need to know a bit more about how the decentralized lending works, how it works technically, how is it possible that you can just deposit there and then withdraw at any point that you want to, and you can still earn that interest? That is something that I haven't gotten to, and yeah, it really, really piqued my interest. So I'll have to look closer to that. But just because it's running on RSK, and just because I've seen the people behind it that are working on it, I am more likely to have a look at it than to just throw it out as something that's infeasible and something that really just wants to take money from people and earn money on that.
Yeah, lending and staking is a huge thing in crypto, and it kind of takes out the decentralized new technology aspect out of crypto and makes it more like the classical fiat finance system. But like lending on smart contracts, like Sovereign is proposing, that's something to keep a look at, and could be interesting for the future. We talked a lot about technical stuff. Let's get to a bit more personal, off-topic stuff. As part of good research, I checked out your LinkedIn profile, and it mentions that you speak up to 8 languages. How much truth is there to that? And can you elaborate on how to pick them up, and how do you have any advices for us? Because I'm foreign in the Czech Republic, just learning the Czech language. Do you have any tips and tricks how to learn languages?
So it was probably true back when I wrote that into my LinkedIn, so like a few years back, because I completely forgot my Chinese, and my French is garbage by now, because you don't use it, right? Like the last time I used it was in 2016 when I actually had college classes in French. So, but since then I don't use it, and you lose the ability. So I probably should change my LinkedIn. I do speak Czech and Vietnamese and German and English, but that's because I went to a German school and Vietnamese is spoken at home. And as for learning languages, I learn audio visually. So I listen, I watch TV shows in the language. I have subtitles with it, and as long as I've learned or read about the grammar before of that language, I can then hear it and parse it and understand the words, and I learn through that, which makes me and I think that I'm better at grammar than I'm better at remembering words. That's actually terrible for me. But everybody learns differently. For some people, reading is more beneficial, right? But I'm the audiovisual type. As for learning Czech, I guess that going for a beer with Czech people is the best way how to do that, because you get inebriated, you get a little bit more relaxed, and then you are willing to try. I can tell you that I speak the languages that I don't speak anymore, like French and Chinese. I've always spoken them better when I was a little bit inebriated, because then you just lose that self-control. You're not so like you lose that shame. You just speak, and that helps you. But like I don't want to propagate alcohol here, so take that back.
That makes sense, and thank you for the tips. But sadly, I think going for a beer with Czech locals here is currently a bit harder.
Yeah.
But maybe in the future that will be helpful to do. And then, like, picking up on that, you lived in a lot of great cities, a lot of countries. Has it been like working in different cities? And is there a city you would say is best for business in the crypto space?
Yeah. So as for living, I usually studied during the times when I was abroad. I didn't really work, but for working, I went on like business trips. And what surprised me really is in South America, the crypto scene is it's quite big. You have crypto embassies, you have meetup points, you have a lot of good companies that work from there. And the conferences that I've been to, the best ones, the ones that both knew how to have fun and how to do business and do it responsibly, were in Latin America. So that's one tip if you end up in Bitcoin or crypto South America. And in Europe, the best one that I've been to is Honey Badger in Riga, and every year it happens in Riga in Latvia, and it's run by Hodl Hodl, the decentralized P2P exchange, and they also manage to get really good speakers from the community. And again, it's always a lot of fun to meet old faces and catch up with them.
That's actually quite surprising. I didn't expect South America to pop in here, but I'm sure, yeah, like Thomas was nodding in agreement. I was seeing during that, and I think that's it for me. Thank you for the answers you gave. Really insightful, and I think I will give it up to Mathieu. And again, the reminder to post questions in chat for later. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me properly? I hope so. Yes, thank you. So I will start with the question: if you have any crypto YouTubers, crypto channels that you would recommend to follow, or if you do follow some.
So to be honest, I don't really follow any. Like I don't have a subscription because I'm always lazy to click on subscribe, and I just rely on the YouTube algorithm to give me good videos. But when it comes to Czech YouTubers, it's Josef Tětek, who I think that you've even had on the lecture on a discussion here too. And when it's about English YouTubers, it's obviously Andreas Antonopoulos, because he is the one. Like that guy has a gift of talking and explaining things very, 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 very well. And he is like one of the OG Bitcoiners, and again, very respected and very knowledgeable.
Okay, thank you for a nice tip. I think our teacher Jacob also told us about him, so I will definitely try that.
Yeah.
Another question is about CBDCs, central bank digital currencies.
Yes, I did. I can recommend both of them, of course.
Okay, thank you, Jacob. So what do you think about CBDCs? What is their future? And if you are interested in that topic, because you are interested in political things also, I think that might be relevant for you.
Yeah, I think that CBDCs are basically just trying to catch up with the trend and trying to, like, use the popularity of crypto to be able to offer your fiat counterpart of on a central bank on whatever blockchain it would be. I mean, if Czech Republic had the CBDC, it would probably be running in Excel. So let's be real about that. The one thing I'm worried, or the thing is that with CBDCs, the state can make you use them. It can force you to use them. But as we've seen in China, their attempt to use it sets an expiry date on the money that you have in your wallet, which is already problematic because our inflation is basically it basically acts as a expiry date of your money. You are encouraged to spend it as soon as possible. So with a central bank digital money, digital currency, it's might get even worse, that you will actually have a expiry date on the money that you have there, and you will have to use it to buy them. And then it doesn't really make you, maybe it doesn't make it your money. It doesn't make it a store of value anymore. It's basically just a token, and you're a, let's say, slave to the government because they tell you for what to earn and what to spend and when to spend it, right? So I don't believe in them. I don't think it's a good idea. I think the way fiat works right now is already digital enough. Yes, sure, we have banking processors that take a lot of fees, but centralizing it even more into the hands of the government, yeah, not sure about that. Not sure if it's a good idea.
Okay, thank you for your interesting opinion. And when we are in this topic, I would also like to ask you about regulations. Do you think there will be more put in place in future, like we saw China, maybe India? What's your view on that?
I think that even here in Europe, you have AML regulations, and they get updated every year, or they try to get it updated every year and then push through to the member states. I think that there are regulations that make sense from the point of view of the government, because they have to do it, because they have to, like, there are already KYC processes for banks, for funds, for all these other things. So they're just equalizing it with, or they're making it equal for cryptocurrency. And it's something that pragmatically they have to do, even though, for example, I don't need to agree with them. On the other hand, then we have things like Czech Republic, when we are trying to be even more strict than the European Union. So we take over the regulation and we add more regulations on top of it and make it even more difficult to do businesses or to actually hold things here. So that's, for me, that's bad. For me, that's ridiculous. And the government is only making innovation, stifling innovation in this country. When it comes to AMLD5, I think, there is a stipulation that you have, or that the wallet address or wallet has to be KYC if it's a custodial wallet. And yeah, on centralized exchanges, you've already had to do KYC before, so it's not a problem. But the one important thing about this regulation that it says that it's custodial wallets. So the non-custodial wallets where you own your own private keys do not need to be KYC'd, and there's not really a way how they can force the KYC on that, because the customer or the holder of the keys doesn't really need to go through anything centralized to process their payments. So it's a good thing that they realize that, and they haven't tried to push this thing through into the directive. But we'll see how long the sanity, or this logical thinking works, and if they are gonna propose to KYC even non-custodial wallets, we'll have to do something about that. And we'll see if in the future if that will ever happen.
Thank you. Well, I expected your answer to in this to look like in this way. And my next question is about your salary. Nothing personal, but do you guys in your company also get paid in crypto or only fiat?
So you can choose. It's completely up to you if you want to get fiat or if you want to get crypto. If you want to get crypto, you just tell them that you want crypto, and they'll pay you out depending according to the rate that's on the day of a payout, of the crypto payout. So again, like you hope that they are not willingly choosing a day when it's going to be cheap. But no, I'm just kidding. Like, obviously, there are certain days, there are certain pre-scheduled days in a month that you know that the payout is coming, and you choose that if you want your salary in crypto or in fiat or not.
Well, that sounds very complicated. What have you chosen?
I have fiat payouts because I have to pay rent and but yeah, I do my DCA strategy on a regular basis.
Well, just yesterday I saw an advertisement on paying rent in Bitcoin, so maybe I will find it for you if you want.
Yeah.
Okay, so next topic is about other assets. So I would like to ask you if you were following Coinbase going public, or if you follow any other assets like real estate or stocks. Are you interested in that?
Yes, I do try to diversify because it's not like if you're a Bitcoin maximalist, sure, go all full into Bitcoin and or ride the waves and try to go up all the time. But I try to diversify. I have to say that I haven't been successful in diversifying responsibly. So I don't know if you've heard about Porto, but I've started using them for no kind of for low effort kind of investing. I'm also looking at I don't know if you've heard, but Slushpool, the company behind Slushpool, Brains, is issuing their bonds because their income is completely they earn only Bitcoin and they need fiat to run their daytime operations and pay for servers or whatnot. So they are issuing bonds at some kind of return. So I was looking into that. When it comes to Coinbase, it's really funny because before the IPO, it wasn't even an IPO, it was private something. I'm not sure about the term. Yeah. Some people were already saying that they're overvalued. And then when it came up in the market, I see it going down. So I was actually quite happy not to put my money in there. And another thing is that I had my own experience with Coinbase, and it's not always the good one. So yeah, that's that.
Yeah, just to be more clear, I think it was IDO, something like initial direct offering or
direct offering. It was not a public offering, it was a direct offering, yeah.
Okay, so from what you said, would you consider yourself a long-term investor? You said something about DCA, so do you use that often?
Yeah, I consider myself a hodler. Like I haven't sold. Well, apart from the first Bitcoins that I ever had, those I sold way back then, and that would probably make me not a hodler, but at the time it was not really a thing. And I do DCA. I don't use any special thing, but it's more like if there's money left over, I can just put that money through a more normal exchange and purchase an amount and keep it.
And do I get it right that you are a Bitcoin maximalist, or are you not?
Well, I guess that from my answers before about Ethereum and about smart contracts and all of these things, you can probably guess that I'm a maximalist. But at the same time, I'm not in the sense that I tell people what to do or I tell people that they shouldn't invest in altcoins. For me, it's all up to personal responsibility and your own research. I'll tell you that I only trust Bitcoin, but if you do a research about Ethereum or about some token on it and you find it interesting, then I'll say go ahead, buy it. It's your responsibility.
All right. And how do you feel about people like Elon Musk putting money into crypto? And I mean, it's nothing bad, but they can affect the price so easily by just putting one tweet on internet. Like Trump does that, Musk does that. Is it good?
I think that it's okay. Like it's not perfect for the volatility, but then again, Bitcoin was always volatile, and the fact that Musk can move the price so much only shows that the market is still at its early stages, right? So we still have room to grow for it to be more stable, for it not to be influenced by somebody famous tweeting. And as for Musk, I have I find it really funny that he shelved Doge and then Tesla ended up buying Bitcoin, and so again, you can see manipulation there. That if it happened to normal stocks, SEC would probably go hard at Musk. But then again, I think it's a good thing that we don't have a regulation and the market self-regulates itself, and it went up or it's still going up. We still are in the bull run.
I've also seen on your LinkedIn profile that you studied in US in Maine, I guess.
Yeah.
Could you maybe describe us how was your experience there? How was the university? I think it was one of the top US universities, right? So how did you get there? And
One of the liberal arts, one of the better liberal arts universities. Well, Maine was surprising for me the first year because I had no idea where I was going. And going from Hong Kong with 8 million people in on a small island to Maine to a college which was in a town of 16,000 people, out of which 3,000 were college students. That was a huge cultural shock, but I came to appreciate the nature there. Like the national parks in Maine are amazing. They have really good craft beer, and that's that. And how I got there was I went to a international school in Hong Kong on a scholarship. It's UWC. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's a chain of schools around like high schools, last 2 years of high schools around the world, and they encouraged us to apply to schools in the US and the UK. And I applied and then for a got scholarship, and for some reason they accepted me, and I went there. So.
okay, thank you very much for all your answers. I think this is pretty much everything from me. And now I ask my teammates to ask anything else, and also you guys, my classmates, if you have anything. I think it's better if we leave some time also for you, so that you are not just listening, but also adding something. So thank you very much.
No, I wanted to jump in next. Thank you. So a question I've kind of been holding since you were talking with Tomas at the beginning is that you were talking about why you stayed with Invity for so long. And obviously, from any business professional background, the opportunity for growth is something that a lot of people look for. But you also said that as you grew, it was changing positions was kind of based on finding things that interest you even more than the last position. And so I kind of wanted to ask what those things were. Like what I know that your career in crypto was kind of accidental, like getting hired because of that paper that you wrote. What has kept you in the space for so long?
So this is actually really, it might be confusing because I came from a political science background and now I'm in crypto, and then I moved to from marketing. I started doing marketing because I was good at writing in English. And then I moved into business development, and that was because I was interested in the technology and interested in coding, right? So I learned during the time in Satoshi Labs, I learned how to write in Python and in TypeScript. So that helped me in understanding the technical side of, for example, the API that we are using or the API that we are providing. And that helped me in getting into the business development position because I could understand the technical side of Trezor. At the same time, I could communicate with our partners in English. So that made me a perfect fit for it. And I also like doing that. So I moved there. And now in growth, it's basically thanks to working on a project and that I like to expand on, and I consider it's one of my greatest contributions to the company. I can then now expand on it and yet still work in the same way as I've been working before. Again, technical English and yeah, sorry.
No, that definitely makes sense. And I guess your path obviously is very specific to you and probably not easily replicatable. And so I kind of wanted to ask along that same line with all of the different, I'm sure, types of people and individuals and professionals that you meet in the space. For students like us who kind of have a range of experience in this class, or might just be curiosity in the cryptocurrency space, what do you see as key characteristics or motivations or interests for people to have that would be successful in the cryptocurrency space?
I don't think it's difficult to replicate, to be honest. I honestly don't think so. It's all about, for me, it was about luck. For some people, they deliberately go and look for cryptocurrency careers. But it's not difficult to replicate, I'd say. And there are always companies that will hire you on an entry level, and then you grow with the company. So it's not only about us being open to teaching you on the way as you go, and then landing a different job. Companies focus on that. And as for what's good or what's beneficial for you when you work for a cryptocurrency company, I'd say is the open-mindedness and flexibility, the possibility of you doing different things. It's not like you're narrowly focused. And I think that in today's economy, you can't be only narrowly focused anymore, but you have to have a broad kind of thinking. And there will always be somebody who can do things like perfectly, right? But if you are a Swiss knife and you can do everything but not completely perfect, but you know the broader picture, I think that gives you a benefit. It gives you an upper edge, because then you can use, or not use, but you can have a colleague that can focus and specialize, but you are the one who sees the bigger picture.
Yeah, no, definitely makes sense. It's been a goal of mine for a while to be a jack of all trades, as we call it in Texas, but yeah. Okay, those were my extra questions. So I guess, Julian, did you have any more?
Yeah, sure. We talked about Invity quite a lot, and I know it's not your job as head of growth, probably, but what would you say to a customer why they should use Invity.io?
Well, I would say, and this is taking in the scenario when we have the optimal, let's say, accounts and education, that we are your number one partner when it comes to cryptocurrency, onboarding into cryptocurrency. I'd say that we will guide you through the entire process. We will make sure that you don't forget, or you know all the important things, and that you can keep your coins safely at your own custody, that we won't we'll take care of it for you. But at the same time, we'll teach you everything about it.
That's quite a compelling argument. You mentioned, I mean, you learned quite a few things over your career and picked up on skills, like you mentioned Python, all those languages. Is there anything you would recommend to us young students, to any skill to pick up, what to learn, and how to get better at picking up new skills?
Yeah. Well, I think that for understanding crypto, like one side is understanding the theory behind it and in English in text, and the other thing is actually seeing the code behind it. And that's one of the reasons why I did learn how to code, even though I'm not good at it, I'm not perfect at it, but merely reading code and reading technical documentation will help you a little bit understand a bit more about how certain things are working. And you don't need to be completely like technical minded, right? Everybody thinks that if I can't program, I can't learn how to read code. No, you can always learn how to read code. You just maybe you don't have the creativity to program yourself, or to be able to come up with a solution for something, but you don't need that to read code. So I think that's one of the things that I would advise. And I don't know. I think cryptosphere is starting to be very similar, or crypto careers is starting to be very similar to normal startups in the Czech Republic or anywhere in the world. So just be open-minded, try new things. And I started in the company with 2 years in mind, because I wanted to move abroad again, because I came back after a few years and I wanted to stay here. But if it's interesting enough, if it's good enough for you, and if you can grow there, you're going to stay. And if it doesn't, then it doesn't work out, then you can always move and find new opportunities elsewhere.
Thank you. Yeah, I thought about learning Python, for example, and there's even a course here at VSE, but I think the course was at Monday, 10 a.m. So right at the time where 11 a.m., right when this crypto course was taking place, and then I set priorities and chose the crypto course instead. But it's something I'll consider then doing in my free time, and just reading code and picking up on that, I think can be useful to broaden your knowledge. Let's finish my part with a fun fantasy question. If you could change one thing about Bitcoin, anything, what would it be?
If I could change one thing about Bitcoin, what would it be? I haven't actually thought about this, but I think I would probably lower the block time, so it wouldn't happen every 10 minutes. I don't know, like that would be very contentious to say among people in the community, because they would be like, "Oh, you're not the true." Yeah. No, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
it's difficult.
But the first thing that came up to my mind was to lower the block time by a certain bit, but yeah, not sure how feasible that would be.
We would have to find out what the ramifications of that would be, and
Yeah.
I'm sure there are a lot of great options how to mess with Bitcoin. That's it from my side. I think Thomas has some more questions, and off to him. Thank you.
Yes, I had a couple of questions, like from where you were speaking with Julian Bach, because I'm from Latin America, I'm from Argentina, and you talked about the crypto scene being like huge there, and I wanted to ask you why do you think it is like this? It is because of like our economics not being so good, or why do you think are the reasons behind that?
So I don't know if this is a hypothesis or it's something that's just a feeling. I really have no hard data for it, but I feel like countries that have had an experience with like bad government or bad management and on the governmental level generally tend to be more open to something that's global and that's not governed by anyone. So you can see it in the Czech Republic and you can see it in Latin American countries, right? Argentina has huge inflation and that basically devalues everybody's money. So you naturally look for something that's you can escape to, and it's not always the American dollar that can save you. So yeah. I think it's because of these reasons.
Yes, our inflation rates are like 40 or 50% per year. That's insane.
Yeah.
And yeah, and we also like usually we escape to cash to save money, but now we have crypto, so that's another option. And yeah, and we also like if I want to pay with a credit card here, I have like to pay like 35% tax, so it's insane for me.
Yeah.
And just like in the middle, we have like many these financial institutions which represent the middleman. So I wanted to ask you, like not basically focus on Latin America, but more in general, do you think that decentralized finance or crypto in general will overtake traditional finance, or will they coexist in the future, like long-term future?
I think in the short run or in the mid run right now, they will somehow coexist. And the only way how crypto and decentralized finance can overtake traditional finance is when you can teach all people, like absolutely all people, how to use cryptocurrencies and how to be completely independent. And here we hit the limit of humans, right? Not everybody wants to be independent. Not everybody wants to be self-sovereign. People like to have their money in their banks because they know or they believe that the bank is insured. So until you can convince this mass of people, and they are going to be, right now it's a huge mass of people, it's the majority, that cryptocurrencies and decentralized finance make sense and they are more safe, even though you have to be responsible for yourself, then you will have these two economies, like traditional and decentralized, running side by side, which is why it's important to run education and focus on that.
Yeah, that's definitely important. I think we have some questions in the chat. I don't know if you, Matthew, want to read them. I think it was from Thomas Pensley.
Sure, I can do that. So Tomas asked, could you give us your opinion on DEX and spot exchanges? Which ones do you prefer more? Which one seems like a safer option to you? Which projects are most exciting and why? Thanks in advance.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna disappoint you because I don't use any of them. But as for DEX, I've only talked to Binance Dex or their Dex team because they've had an interest to be integrated in Trezor. Yeah, it seems like a good idea. It seems like something you could use, especially since it's decentralized, right? You don't focus on one middleman or one centralized entity. But it's again a responsibility to check if you are putting the money into the right place and how reputable the company is. I think when it comes to Binance, they have a lot to lose if they would do something sketchy with your money. So that would be fine.
Thank you for your answer. I don't know if Tomas has something to add on it, but you can jump in anytime, guys. I realized I have a few more questions, and it's about mining. Have you ever tried mining? And what do you think? What are the impacts? I mean, like the environmental impacts of mining. How do you feel about them? Is it really like people use just eco energy and renewable energy?
Yeah. So to be honest, I've never mined. I wish I did. I wish I knew about it before, and I could mine when it was feasible on graphic cards. But that ship has sailed. When it comes to ecology, or the environmental impact of mining, I believe miners act rationally, economically, and they will always look for the cheapest source of energy, which is in general renewable energy because you're not burning up anything. Which is why you see farms near like natural resources like water dams and basically sustainable electricity power plants. I'm not sure to which extent it is like that. Maybe you have, state subsidized coal mining, power plants, which could exist in certain states, but then that's a problem of the state subsidizing the coal power plants and not necessarily Bitcoin mining using coal power plants. One of the more, like for me, politically contentious issues is mining in Xinjiang because it's basically an occupied territory for Uyghurs, but that's the political side of it. And honestly, I have no idea how to resolve that. And yeah, it's basically a political conflict. But I hope that answers your question somehow.
Sure, sure. It does completely. Thank you. And I also realized we didn't speak so much about like Bitcoin and how it was founded. So what do you think? Like, who was the Satoshi Nakamoto, and is it the one person or many person? I've heard just yesterday, I didn't know, that it is said he holds 1 million Bitcoins and it hasn't been moved since 2008. So
Yeah.
how do you feel
So yeah,
about that?
none of his bitcoins have moved ever since he stopped communicating with people. So there are wild theories that it's either a group, it's a government, it's a one person that has since died. I have no theory behind it. I don't like try to guess. I don't know. I just know it's not Craig Bright. So that's that one person, the Australian scammer. Basically, I know that's not Satoshi Nakamoto, but basically, otherwise, I have no idea who he or she may be.
Yeah, many people claimed to be him, but no one was really like. Okay, so Hila is asking another question, and that is, now that Coinbase is trading on the Nasdaq, in your opinion, which one is a better investment, Coinbase stock or Bitcoin? Thank you. I think this is pretty clear, but
Yeah, I think you should invest in Bitcoin because it's cheaper to invest in because I'm not sure if you're investing in Nasdaq stocks, you're gonna have to pay some fees and you're gonna have to pay probably some management fees. And I don't think that not even in the wildest dreams, even the Coinbase founders believe that Coinbase stock will go up higher than a Bitcoin value, even percentage wise. So yeah, go for Bitcoin, not for Coinbase.
okay, so now imagine you are talking to someone that does not have a clue what is Bitcoin and he just wants to invest. So what should I do? The first steps, I mean. Because
Yeah. Is it a good friend or is it a good friend or is it an acquaintance? Because depending on that, I would answer differently.
okay, good friend.
A good friend, I would probably go through explaining the what I work for, explaining the device, why it's needed, explaining the entire Bitcoin and why it's good for global economy, especially when it comes to global remittances, usability, and all of these things. If it's a person that I don't know, I would pretend I don't work for Bitcoin because I've done that too many times. And explaining Bitcoin, a cryptocurrency, at a dinner party to a person who is skeptical about it is not a good conversation.
Well, I totally get it.
Yeah.
Any other questions, guys?
Is it something that you talk about with friends and family, Bitcoin, or is it something the financial side you keep separate from normal discussions?
Well, everybody, like from my friends, from my close friends, everybody knew that I was working for Trezor. So at the beginning, it was more like, ha ha ha, internet money. Good that you're earning money, but we don't know what's gonna happen to it, right? And then that was around $1,000 per Bitcoin, and now it's now that's about or around 50. It's different. People have started putting their money into Bitcoin by now. Yeah, even my friends, my family.
Yeah, I think when friends come to you, it's something I would explain to them, but I would never give them financial advice and tell them what to do.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I never convinced them to put their money into it. They needed to find their way under their own understanding, either through me explaining or through them researching. But it was never me who told them to buy. Even for my parents, it was never me. I never told them to buy. Never told my friends to buy. If they want to buy, they will come to that conclusion themselves. But I don't want to be responsible for financial advice that can make them lose money.
I think that's a good attitude. Yeah. Sticking with you, do you have any future ambitions for your job or what you want to do in the crypto space, or do you want to eventually get out of it, find something else?
So right now, as a head of growth, I have pretty big shoes to fill because I think that I'm relatively inexperienced for a managerial role like this. And I am really lucky that the owners of the company believe me, the CEO believes me so much that he is willing to let me grow into the role as the company grows and gets better. So I don't think that I have a better opportunity right now at this point. We'll see in 5 years where I'll be, but unlike at the beginning of Satoshi Labs, I don't have the 2-year goal because obviously that didn't really work out. So I no expectations there.
Yeah, and things could change really quickly in the crypto space and all that kind of stuff. We have another chat question from David, and he wants to know your opinion on XRP and Ripple. Do you have any specific thoughts on that, or
no? Should it be positive? Should it be negative?
I mean, go for both.
Thoughts on that? I just feel like it's not really a decentralized cryptocurrency. So can you even call it a cryptocurrency? It's traded. You can exchange it everywhere, but I wouldn't. No, like nothing should sound like a financial advice that I say, right? I'm just talking about my own opinions, and as my opinion, I wouldn't put money in there.
Do you have a counter argument, David, or do you want to just leave that statement as it is?
I think we can leave the statement as it is, but yeah, I actually have my money in XRP, so I wouldn't say I wouldn't invest it when I have the money there, but it's okay. I can leave.
Yeah, and obviously you've done your own research and you know why you've put your money in there, so that's good for you. But I haven't really researched about XRP, and I only know it from secondhand and from my colleagues in the company. And as you may probably guess, the company is more maximalist than altcoin friendly. But we do support all of these altcoins because that's a good business decision.
Is it something in your company that your colleagues approach you and tell you about this new fancy cryptocurrency they discovered, or is it something everybody goes their own way? What is it like in the company? Do you talk about those kinds of stuff and what to invest in and stuff?
Yeah, we don't really talk about it as like what to invest in, but it's more like, hey, this is something new. We can have a look at it. Or sometimes we have it in Slack that somebody wants to integrate with Trezor and it's a new project and we have to look at it. So we get to know about new projects like this. As I said before, we were more Bitcoin maximalists, like the people who started working in the company were most likely people who either had Bitcoin or knew about Bitcoin before. So they were more onto the maxi side, but right now, as we've been hiring more people, we have more like altcoin, like all kinds of coins they put their money into. So it's not really that much straightforward anymore. So we do have like discussions about different coins, and not everybody agrees with each other. But that's what generally happens when you have a large group of people. As long as you can work together, it's fine.
Makes sense. Is there maybe something you wanted to implement at Invity or maybe at Trezor that hasn't happened yet, or something that would fascinate you, some opportunities?
So Invity is generally very open to altcoins because we provide these cryptocurrencies through our partners. So we have no reason to just block it for one. When it comes to saving, we focus on Bitcoin because that's the store of value, and I don't know if it makes sense to DCA safe into Ethereum or USDT. But so there's that. I don't think that there's anything that we are missing at this point right now, apart from the projects that we are already working on. So if I could change one thing, I would speed up the way we work on things, because with limited resources, you obviously hit some roadblocks. So just that. Like if I could change one thing about Invity, we would have dollar cost average saving product last year.
And would you say that each employee has their voice heard, that they can implement new ideas and actually have the power to change something at Invity?
Yes, so right now we're at, let's say, 14 people. So we're probably the same size as when I started working at Trezor, which means that it's very easy to talk through and have your opinions heard, have your ideas heard, and people will actually go through it and think about it and process it. The larger you go, the larger you have to scale the company, the more difficult it gets. So it's important for me. What's important in a company is to have the entry-level positions heard, like everybody heard, so they don't feel like they are ignored, and a good flow of information across the company. So so that if you are supposed to get this information, you're gonna get it as soon as possible. This is something that I feel like it's not only a problem with startups, with crypto startup, but it's a problem with startups everywhere, that you don't have a process how to communicate information effectively. And right now, it's one thing that we are working on. We are not having those problems right now, but we are trying to catch them before they come, because we're just talking from experience.
Yeah, and even with 14 people, it's a difficult task to make sure everybody has their voices heard and the communication is on point. And if that's the case, that's really impressive in the company. Thank you. Anybody else want to add something? And Ellie?
Yeah, I wanted to jump in and just kind of, you've touched on this your opinion on this in a couple of different answers to different questions, but I just kind of wanted to ask, in your opinion, innovation-wise, where you see the cryptocurrency space having the most potential. I mean, obviously you have a stake in it being evolving into the medium of exchange of the global economy, but we've studied like the different camps of like why people support it, whether it be financial independency, medium of exchange, transactional efficiency, people that just love blockchain for privacy reasons. But how do you kind of see that evolving globally?
I think that if people start using it as a medium of remittance, because remittance is a huge market and it's generally pretty expensive, that will be one start of using Bitcoin mainstream. And I think that some people already started using it. We need to see Bitcoin or second layers being used more often on Bitcoin. So right now, when you send money to somebody, you generally send it on chain. Once we have second layer advanced enough that people can use it, people understand it, and the UI UX is working, and people start using it. For example, remittances are exchanging value or like paying each other. Then I think we can get to the global adoption. But global adoption with Bitcoin on chain is going to be very difficult because of the 10-minute blocks, or because it was not really designed to do like fast payments. But once we can get the Lightning Network, let's say, on-chain, off-chain second layer transactions more widespread, more mainstream, I think that's going to then pick up.
Yeah, no, definitely. I obviously don't even have enough knowledge at this point to make a hunch, but we already have the first coffee shop that's fully paid in Bitcoin in Prague here that I visited in the dorm, but we're not allowed to go in. But I'm really interested to see how it gets into just normal everyday life. But, yeah. No, I guess if you guys don't have any more questions, I just kind of wanted to ask, all of our questions are kind of based on what's interesting to us. Is there anything we haven't hit on with your career that you find extremely interesting or you like to tell people about, especially in our space where we just have curiosity and interest about it, you know?
I'm not really sure. I'm glad that we had this conversation because your questions were really nice, and I could I tried to answer them as much as I could, and I hope they were helpful and interesting for you. What I wanted to say is that if you want to have a career in a crypto company, it's it's really just about or I think personally, and talking from experience, it's about your open-mindedness to new things and willingness to learn, because as you also said, the cryptocurrency space changes very rapidly and very quickly. So you never know where you're going to be in 1 year or in 2 years. So it's turbulent, it's volatile, but it's also a lot of fun because you meet people that are very interesting, and that could be a foundation for your future career if you choose to stay or if you choose to leave. Because even if you choose to leave the career in crypto, I think that it's going to teach you so much that it's going to help your worldview afterwards, wherever you are or whatever you do.
Really, yeah. Professor, did you have anything you wanted to add to that, or any questions that we're missing that you think you would have an expert opinion on?
You are muted, Jacob.
Well, we still can't hear you, unfortunately.
Okay, now it should be better. Thank you for asking. No, I don't have any further questions. I want to say thank you to our brilliant guest, Bach Nguyen, and also big thanks to the moderating team. You did a great job. I really appreciate it. Thanks to the students who asked questions, who wrote them into the chat. And yeah, that's it for today. I will also ask you, as every week, to give feedback, which I will then share with Bach. And I'm looking forward for next week. That's it for today. Have a great week and bye.
Thank you guys so much. Have a good one.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and bye.
Bye-bye.